Yes, I did change my mind on body recomp. In fact, I was completely wrong. I thought that body recomposition, which is losing fat and building muscle at the same time, was only for a sub-select few amount of people. In fact, body recomposition is a good goal for pretty much everyone, especially if you're doing 4 to 5 WODs every single week. I'm going to go over who body recomp is easier for, who it's harder for, and what you can be doing if you are a more trained athlete to actually see results. So stay by the end of this video because the tip I go over last is going to be the absolute most important for you to start reaching this goal, and it's something that a lot of people simply don't know. Now, before we get going, over half of you that are viewing this channel and watch my videos consistently and comment and like, don't subscribe to the channel. So if you want to see more content like this, go ahead and click that subscribe button. We don't ask anything else. Super easy. It's free. Click it and we can go from there. So let me get into body recomp and who this is most likely to happen for. The most likely person it's to happen to and for are a few. The first is going to be people in their 20s and 30s. It's just easier to build muscle when you're in your 20s and 30s. And as we know, building muscle is half the battle when it comes to body recomp. So if you're in your 20s and 30s, your testosterone and other hormones are likely at peaks for you to be able to build muscle. Your sleep and recovery is much better, so you're able to train harder, and you're able to feel better with less and with not being as consistent with diet and other recovery-based protocols. So if you were to ask me right now, who is body recomp more likely for, someone that's in their 40s or someone in their 20s, it's going to be someone in their 20s every single time. The next type of person are people that are overweight. People that are overweight are not trained at all, meaning they are usually someone barely sedentary. There are exceptions to this rule. There are people that are fit that are overweight and have more amount of body fat than an average person. But for the sake of simplicity, let's just take an untrained person that is also overweight. It's a lot more easier for this person to achieve body recomp. They're untrained and all they have to do is very little to get started relative to what they're currently doing to see some improvement. And especially if they're starting strength training at the same time they're starting their weight loss journey, instead of doing a bunch of cardio, which we know is a mistake, then yes, they're going to achieve body recomp a lot more easily. Next is males, men in general. They have more androgen receptors, higher testosterone counts. It's going to be easier for them to build more muscle. Now, you can make the argument that, women can build muscle at the same rate relative to their body size, which there's some studies showing that women can very readily build muscle if that's their goal. And I love seeing women that are jacked, that hit PRs, that want to get stronger and all of that. However, it is a little bit easier for men to build muscle. Building muscle is a lot harder than losing body fat, and therefore it makes it a lot easier for men to recomp than for women. Just the reality. But women, I believe in you and I know you can do it. So those are some of the criteria. Some outliers are people on anabolic steroids, Andrew Hiller. It makes it a lot easier for them to also recomp, to build muscle and lose body fat at the same time, because you're using foreign and exogenous substances such as testosterone and other steroids to be able to help you reach your goals more easily. Other than that, that is basically how I thought body recomp was to be achieved. If you were overweight, you were in your 20s and 30s, if you were taking anabolic steroids, that's it. Now, it's been shown in several research studies that's not the case. People that are also super jacked, do 4 to 5 WODs per week, train really hard, can still reach their recomposition goals. And so I started to investigate this a little bit more to try to understand, well, what do those people do differently to try and reach their goals that maybe someone sedentary that is achieving recomp is doing? And there are a couple of different criteria. Now, if you're already a trained athlete, you can feel like progress is very slow, and that's why making relative improvements is extremely, extremely important. If you're having trouble being consistent enough to be able to see some of that progress, and you feel like things are just moving too slowly, or you're in quicksand, you feel like things aren't moving at all, whether it's losing body fat, building muscle, or getting stronger, there's a link in the description below that actually goes over more about our program and how to learn more. Most of us, especially when it comes to body composition changes, are falling short on the nutrition side. And so that link goes over some more information. Now, let's go through what you need to be doing if you want to achieve recomp and why recomp is so ideal. The number one reason I love recomp is because now you're not bulk and cutting. How annoying is that? To be like 16 weeks, we're going to go through through a cut. 16 weeks, we're going to go through a bulk. Back, forth, back and forth. It's really unnecessary, especially if we're doing 4 to 5 watts per week. We're training really hard at our box. We're doing the strength training we need to. We're doing some of the cardio we need to. We're being consistent. Why shouldn't our body just reciprocate? And the reason for this is because we're not following a specific nutrition protocol that is as predictable as the training plan that we're following. Random food, random nutrition, random results. You're not really going to see any changes or improvement. So when it comes to recomp, there's a couple different considerations, especially for people that are trained. Now, the first thing is total protein. Total protein is very, very, very important. Protein is what helps us feel satiated, which we know aids with fat loss, gives us the amino acids that we need to build muscle, to repair muscle tissue, and to recover properly from the workouts that we're doing. So what does it look like to get more protein? Now, it's all going to be relative. For example, the person that is sedentary probably doesn't really hit their protein target very consistently. But if they started hitting, let's say, consistently 100 grams of protein a day, which is fairly low for most people, they're going to start to see recomp improvements because it's relative to the 50 grams consistently that we're hitting before. So what do we need to do as someone a bit more trained and a bit more disciplined hitting our protein goal? We need to make sure we're hitting 1 gram per pound of body weight. And in fact, some studies show that in really trained athletes, let's say games athletes or higher level, need to hit over their body weight in protein, even up to 1.1 grams per pound of body weight. That research is preliminary, but it was a collection of meta-analyses put together that showed that even higher protein quantities can be good. Find a protein goal you can be consistent with. I recommend 1 gram per pound of body weight, especially if you're already kind of lean and you're just looking to make some improvements, feel a little less fluffy, and actually see some of those visible confident changes you're looking for. So that is number 1. Don't even focus on the rest of these tips. You can actually get out of this video and come back to it later, save it for another time, subscribe to the channel, and just go follow this for a while if you're not doing this consistently. This is the number 1 thing. Now, with recomp, we're not cutting, bulking. And so consistency is very, very important. We're losing body fat and we're building muscle at the same time. We're killing 2 birds with 1 stone. So there has to be strategy involved with this. So next is total calories. As we know, our calories come from protein, carbs, and fats, all 3. We already went over protein. Now we need to go over total calories, which are going to make up the other 2 variables, your carbohydrates and your fats. In order to determine this, we need to figure out our TDEE. Justin, what the heck is a TDEE? A TDEE is your total daily energy expenditure. In layman terms, it's the total amount of calories you burn in a day. There's several calculators out there, and if you on Instagram you DM me the word AI Blueprint, I'll actually send you something that is going to provide you with your TDEE for free. So your TDEE gives you a calorie amount. We need to be within the range of 5% of that. We don't need to be at a crazy surplus. We don't need to be at a huge deficit. Now, this is very, very important because for a long time I thought, hey, well, wouldn't we need to be at a calorie surplus and a lot more than our total daily energy expenditure to build muscle? Yes, that's true. But keep in mind, we're also trying to lose body fat. Don't we need to be at a deficit to lose body fat? Shouldn't we be 10 to 15% lower than our total daily energy expenditure? No, but we're also wanting to build muscle. So what's the right calorie range? The right calorie range is maintenance, your total daily energy expenditure, which should be within 5%. And so that's very, very critical and very important because we need to be at maintenance. And the beauty in this is you're not going to be hungry. You're not going to be at a deficit. You're not going to be shoveling food, feeling like it's so hard. You can be at your maintenance calories and reach these goals. How awesome is that? To never feel hungry, to never feel too full. Like this is ideal, right? So this is why I love recomp as a goal for most people. Third, also very important, your box, wherever you do your 4 to 5 watts per week or your training, does not have enough strength training. And I'm so sorry, but it's just a reality. And it's not the fault of your box owners or coaches. They only have 1 hour to get in what needs to be done. They're trying to get you better at your WODs, better handstand push-ups, better chest to bar, improve squat mechanics, and then the Metcon, which is the conditioning piece that we do. But there's not enough strength training because there's not enough time. And so you need to incorporate extra strength training on your own consistently. Consistently incorporating more strength training is going to make sure that we are breaking down muscle tissue, especially in some of those places where we're looking to build more muscle. Key fact, you can actually spot enhance muscle, but you can't spot reduce body fat. Think about it. And so it's very important to get enough strength training. All right, you have to get in enough strength training. So make sure that you're incorporating 2 to 3 days of extra strength training for an hour where, yes, you're going to failure on your sets, whether it be bench press, whether it be Bulgarian split squats, going to very, very good ranges of motion, actually hitting depth on whatever it is that or exercise that you're doing, and you will see hypertrophy improvements, which is is muscle gain over time. But doing just 4 to 5 watts per week is likely not to get you there if you're already trained. If you're someone sedentary, you can recomp just doing 4 to 5 watts per week, like going into a box and just like signing up for a membership and go 3 days a week. You can get to recomp. But for some of us already doing 4 to 5 watts per week, you need to relatively kick it up. You need to do more. Lastly, the fourth criteria based on studies and research out there for recomp in trained athletes is sleep. For a lot of us, we're not getting enough sleep. And I know you're thinking in your head, Justin, I don't give a shit what you say. I have a kid and I have a job and I'm busy and I can't. I understand all of that. We're all very busy. But if we prioritize sleep a little bit more, whether it's another 30 minutes, another hour, right? Ideally getting 8+ hours of sleep per night, training hard, hitting that protein goal, getting within 5% of our TDEE, you can start to see some body recomposition improvements. I will have another video with the considerations of what to determine to make sure you're achieving recomp, because keep in mind, the scale shouldn't be necessarily moving, but your body composition should be changing. So if you're not reaching these goals, let's say you're doing all this stuff. You're like, Justin, this is easy, man. I've been doing this stuff and I'm still not getting results. It's two main reasons. Number one, you need more individualized specific recommendations based on maybe nutrient timing and a specific plan for the goals that you have. That's number one. Number two, you're simply not as consistent as you say, and you need accountability to get there. All of us need a little good old reality check and accountability every now and then. And so if you're interested in that, you can go ahead and click that link below. You'll learn more about our program, what we do. I think there's another free webinar there where you guys can look and develop a bit more in terms of some recomp recommendations that I make. So click that link, learn more, see what me and my team are about, and if it's a good fit for you. And I'll see you guys on the next YouTube video and podcast. Peace out.